I had planned to start this talk off speaking about Master's with us and he never left us and he can't die. And yet, listening to Swamiji's voice, the tenderness in Swamiji's voice when he was talking about, he was actually reading it, was it from the New Path? And I'd actually never heard that before. One beautiful thing about Ananda is there's always something new. No matter how long you've been with Ananda, you'll, never heard that before, never seen that before. I'm more of a reader, I guess, than a listener, but I'm trying to change. But listening to Swamiji, how his relationship with Master, it was both personal and impersonal. And it's, I guess it depends on our temperament, whether we approach God through a personal way or an impersonal way. But I just got just now to hear in a human way how much Master meant to Swamiji. And so Master's not here with us in the body anymore. And it's a little strange to celebrate the fact that he's not with us, but we are celebrating the fact that he is with us and the fact that he can give us the strength and the power to achieve his state of consciousness. And that is something to be celebrated. And these great ones, it's really just a play that they put on, that he didn't really die. He knew when his time was coming. But even that, he knew that God didn't want him to play the role in the physical body anymore. But otherwise, he knew how to turn off his heart and turn it back on again at will. But it was simply the time, it was his Mahasamadhi, the time where God didn't want him to come back anymore in a body. And why? Why? If these masters, if they have the ability like Babaji, why don't they just kind of cruise around and go to the grocery store with us and, and do everything with us and just stick around for a few thousand years? We would love it. One reason is that we have to learn how to have that impersonal relationship. And Swamiji writes also, I think it's in the New Path, that in some ways it was easier for him to understand who Master was once Master was no longer in the body. That the only way he could understand who Master was to go inside and listen for that silent voice of Master's, that he could no longer go and talk to him in the physical body. And Swamiji said that actually helped him understand that Master had always been omnipresent and was omnipresent. And that statement "had always been" might not be exactly correct, depends on how you want to look at it. I don't want to go too philosophical here. But Swamiji went like that. I want to contrast that with a separate disciple named Leo Cox, who put many pictures of Master up in his room. He would take photographs, and he wanted to increase his devotion, and so he'd take a new photograph and put it up. Oh, Master, so lovely. And Master came in and scolded him for this and said, "Get to know me in meditation. Don't take any more pictures of me, that you're looking at this kind of through the wrong angle." And I also know from my own experience in living with Swamiji that he was so kind and so lovable, utterly lovable, that sometimes it was hard. Is God in there? Is he really omnipresent? Or am I just kind of making that up in my own mind, and maybe he's achieved some higher level of consciousness clearly than me, but maybe he's not omnipresent, and maybe he doesn't know everything. The mind can trick us like this, but when we get the good fortune to come in contact with a saint, we have to work these things out inside of ourselves, and it's important to do that. And anyways, all of you will find your saints in God's time and in the way that is supposed to happen. Please, this is an important point. I make it all of the time, but don't think that Master was the last saint and now, oh well, we'll just have to read the books and figure it out the best that we can. That Master was an avatar. All 5 here on the altar are avatars. And he did say, his exact words were, "I'm the last in our line of gurus," but Swamiji interpreted that for us. And Swamiji said, if he was the last in the line of gurus, then we wouldn't even have a real path. Because the point of this path is to turn you into self-liberated, or self-realized, liberated beings. So because this is a real path, he did not mean that he's the last of the gurus. He meant that he's the last of the avatars. And the avatar's job is to produce many other Jivan Muktas who will go on and make other Jivan Muktas and other Jivan Muktas. So please know that we have a very, very real path. But it's up to each one of us individually to tune into it and to take as much from it as we can. And all of us here in this room, online, we are so fortunate to have the good karma, to have realized that we want a guru, we need a guru, and to take that into our lives as deeply as we want to. Swamiji, when he first read Autobiography of a Yogi, boop, this is for me. And he got on a bus and he went all those miles across the country, 4 days, and he found Master. He had had those past lives, and he just knew. In the first words, I want to be your disciple. We heard Swamiji tell that story again and again. We traveled around India with him, and he would go to city after city after city, and he would tell the exact same story. And I wondered, the first few times I thought, yeah, I know, but I realized we were in a new city, so I was like, okay, I'll listen again. And then I realized how much that meant to him. That was the most important thing in his life that happened, that he met his guru, and that he was able to open himself to Master's presence so that Master could come in and change his life. One time Swamiji was getting a little proud of, the fact he felt he was doing well and making spiritual progress and all this, and Master said, look how I've changed, Walter. And then Swamiji had to realize that he has to do it also, but really, what are we doing on the spiritual path? That we are opening our heart to Master's infinite love. And that's something also to deeply think about and try to comprehend. In this world cannot give us infinite love. It can promise, but it just simply can't. It's not how it's made. In fact, more or less, this world is made to disappoint us so that we get joy and then we get suffering. We say, wait, I just want joy. Why do I have to go down here? And then we realize that we're looking outside of ourselves. And in time we learn that, okay, I get the game. I'll now look inside myself. And this reminds me of a little interaction that I had with Swamiji. I used to like to ask him lots of questions. And we'd have satsangs with him every few weeks, and I'd ask a question, and I was beginning to understand that he was omnipresent, and that I could ask him anything. And my intellect loved this. It was better than Google. It was great. And so I'd ask him all kinds of, philosophical questions or questions about God. And then I'd go home and think about them for a week or two. And then I'd come back because that question would lead to another question. So I'd ask him again the new, brilliantly formed question. This went on and on for months. And then I realized this could go on forever. And that I'm not taking the highest part of this great soul, Swamiji. And I thought, what do I really, really want from him? It's not his intellectual knowledge or his ability to explain to me things about the universe or whatever. What I really want from him is his consciousness. I thought, okay. Then how do I get that consciousness? And I realized I had to receive it. And there's the words of Christ, to as many or to those as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. That Master wants us to become a son or a daughter, as the case may be, of God. Master, Christ, all of the great ones, they want us to raise up to that level of consciousness, and they want to help us get there. And so I realized with Swamiji, okay, I want his consciousness. The way to receive it is to open my heart and become still and receive that consciousness. And the most meaningful part to me as I kind of reasoned this all out step by step of what in the heck do I want here, was by my own power I can't get still enough. I can't find this devotion. I can't open my heart, and I want to, but I don't really know how. And then I realized Swamiji would give me that also, the ability to open my heart, that I just had to come and try and do my best. And that's what we're all doing with Master. We just have to show up on the spiritual path. I can't say it's more than half the battle. I don't want to take Master's quotes and twist them. But we certainly, it's us who turns away from Divine Mother, from this infinite love, from Master. Because we get tests, we get challenges, and we think, well, if Master gave me that, maybe he doesn't love me. And, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's not the guru. Maybe people dream up all kinds of stuff in their head. Master will take responsibility for absolutely anyone on this planet and help guide them towards liberation. But we have to take that step towards them. It's important for us to tune into, how did Swamiji tune into Master? And what did Swamiji take? And listen sensitively to Swamiji's relationship with Master. And then it's also important, this is a lineage, for us to tune into Swamiji and try to understand what he was giving. You know, one thing that Swamiji said, by the way, Swamiji only lived with Master for 3.5 years. And I don't know, I think he came when he was 22, I think. Whether he's 25 or 26 or whatever, when Master left his body, he spent the rest of his life, 60 whatever years, dedicated to bringing people to Master and to God. That Swamiji, think about that. Think if you met someone for a few years in your 20s, and then the rest of your life, you never are going to waver from that. You're never going to change your mind, or you're not sure. You're just going to go. That's what he did. Swamiji said he really only had 2 desires in life. One was to find God. 2 was to help other people find God. Here's the interesting thing. I've heard him say that thing many times. But at some point I realized he really only had 2 desires. He didn't have all of these other desires. I want this, I want this, I want that. He just really had 2 desires. Find God, help other people find God. And the more we can strive to become like that, and I realize this is not an easy thing, that we're filled with desire. You think, oh, this sounds like a great idea. I want to go here and do this and do that, and this would be fun, that would be fun. But again, we have to ask ourselves, does it work? Does it work? There was a story where Master, during a Christmas meditation, went into some state of ecstasy where he was tuning into Divine Mother. And then he would talk, and his voice would change a little bit, and he would speak as Divine Mother. And then he would speak as himself, and he's, oh, Divine Mother, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. Don't go away. And Divine Mother then would speak and say, but the desires of all of these people, it forces me away, it drives me away. It'd say, no, please don't go. And that's also an interesting moment to tune into. What is it inside of us that drives Divine Mother away, that drives Master away? It's our desires. But with Master's power, with Kriya Yoga, we can, and here's an interesting thing. I was going to say that we could overcome all of these desires. You don't have to. You do, but you don't, and I'll explain. You don't have to, in the sense that in order to become a Jivan Mukta, you do not have to get rid of all of your desires. You have to get rid of enough of them that enough energy can work its way up the spine, and we can get enough energy to focus on Master and to realize that what we only really want is Master, and concentrate on Master and love Master. And once we do that and offer ourselves with that energy flowing up here from the spiritual eye, once we do that, once we can become Jivan Muktas, okay, then it's said that that's when all of the real work begins. And tonight I feel like, who even cares about these definitions of Jivan Muktas and this amount of liberation, that amount of liberation? We really just want to be loved, and we want to give love, true love, pure love. And the more we just continually come back to Master again and again, in the beginning we think, but that would be boring. let me, listen to some of this and go do that and do this. I already said it, but does it work? We all know it doesn't. But here's a different way to look at it. How often do we really look at our feelings and say, how does this make me feel? Honestly. Not how does it make your friends feel, but how does it make me feel, honestly? And we can begin to see that, yeah, it's nice, but it's an emotional high. It will crash. And that doesn't mean that I'm saying don't be happy, but I'm saying look at your happiness and analyze it and deeply feel it. And we will begin to understand that there's certain types of feelings that are emotional and that are bound to fluctuate. And there's certain types of feelings that are very subtle, but are very pure and bring a lot of joy. And once we start touching those, we say, I've had enough of these other kind of feelings. I want more of these. And whatever actions, Master, you tell me. You tell me what I need to do. And the thing that we need to do is get in tune with Master to the point where we can feel that he is guiding our minds, to the point where we can feel that he is walking through us, talking through us, eating through us. Do a little experiment. The next time that you eat, don't just, oh yeah, I love this, great, yeah, oh, don't like that. Calm down. Maybe don't talk so much. And maybe eat alone every once in a while. If you're scared to do that, in the beginning I thought that was a little weird. I'd never really done that. I had friends that would go to the movies alone. I thought that was weird. Don't be afraid to be alone sometimes. It's okay to be alone. And go in and eat that food alone and be silent. Offer it to God. Watch those emotional reactions and say, you'll begin to understand, as Naveen was reading, this is just a dream. It's not as real as it seems. You will slowly begin to understand that you too yourself are just a dream. When he was reading it, I got a little scared, but whoa, wait, no, I'm real. And then I thought, wait, who's saying that? Who's saying that I'm real? It's just the ego, just wanting to stand up and talk about how wonderful Mr. Ego is. But that guy does nothing but cause us problems. And again, when I could just get that little voice inside calm and quiet, wait a second. There's a quiet little voice on the inside that wants to speak to us, but maybe God's shy. Maybe he won't speak up, if it's too loud on the inside. And we have to figure out how to calm things down on the inside. But then we realize that voice is there. Master is there. And that he's showing us. He's showing us the way. He's here. He's come to pilot us out of the clouds of delusion of our own mind. And again, that gets a little scary. That if I have to get out of my own mind, then who am I? But you're not your body. You're not your mind. You're not even these superficial feelings that I'm talking about. Please also understand that feeling is the closest thing to consciousness. We are all conscious, we're aware of that, but we can manifest higher levels of consciousness. And by tuning into these subtle feelings, that we can learn to go very deeply within and find these higher levels of consciousness. And this is why Master came, and this is what he wants us to do. And I want everyone to understand how big Master's mission is. That Master's mission, it's going to grow and grow and grow, just like Buddhism did, just like Krishna's mission did. It's destined. This is what it is for. And we get a choice, we get a chance to serve that. I tell this story all the time, but I'm just going to tell it again. That it's that when Swamiji first came, people just had he would say, it's going to be big. Even Master told Dr. Lewis, it's going to be big, doctor, I tell you. It's going to be big. And he was staying in some little rented room and, not the nicest part of town. And it was just like him and Master, and he's, maybe one or two other people would come, and he's thinking, I want to believe in everything my guru says, but, it's just like this one guy here. But slowly, the work spread in America. But I think Dr. Lewis didn't have a clue that Master was talking about, like, the next 1,000 years, how big this is going to be. And the thing here is, we get a chance. We get a chance to tune into that and to ride. It's an incredible wave to ride right now of wanting to help to spread the work. And please understand that spreading the work does not mean that you have to stand up here. That I feel very often that the more saintly ones have the better karma not to have to stand up here, and that they're just quietly blessing all. Think about that. The next time that you walk into a room, are you silently blessing everyone? Or are you thinking, I don't know, about one of the billion things in this world? And do you have that little subtle feeling on the inside? It feels oh so nice and so peaceful. And everything is just as it should be. And that you're just quietly wafting that without saying a word through your eyes, through your smile, to everyone that you meet. Or, okay, at least me, myself, no, I'm not at that level yet. I'm trying to get control over the emotions, but I know that this is where I want to go. And I know that I want to be like Swamiji, and that I'm never going to let go of this path. I'm never going to let go of Master's feet. And I don't care. This world could beat me in a trillion different ways. It's all right. But I always will have my guru. It could come from every single direction, as bad or whatever. It's okay. It just doesn't matter as long as I have my guru. And that means in my heart. And this world is designed to try to take that away from you. Don't be afraid. It's all right. That it's set up that way so that we can find this wonderful, wonderful joy and this wonderful, wonderful love. So anyways, I'm urging everyone, take this seriously, find this space within yourself, and know why Master came. Here's just one more thing, and then I'll end here. Yes, Master came for this impersonal, I'm going to change the planet and uplift it and, do all kinds of great stuff for Dwapara Yuga and uplift everyone's consciousness. But also, like we heard in Swamiji's voice, make it personal. Feel that he came for me. He came for me. There's a movie that I like of Padre Pio. You guys maybe could watch it here or whatever. You can watch it on your own, called Man of Miracles. And he has some vision of Christ dying on the cross. And he's telling one of the brother monks about it. He says, he died for me. He died for me. And when I first watched that, I thought, what does that mean? But then I realized you can make your relationship so personal with Master on the inside that you feel that he's willing to die for you, that he would do anything for you to make sure that everything goes right for you. Try to find that experience that Padre Pio had. Try to find Christ, and it's one of our masters. It doesn't matter which one's your favorite, Babaji or whoever, Lahiri Mahashaya. Find that presence within you, and no one can do it for you. And on this Mahasamadhi, and are they dead? Do they die? This got me thinking about Christ. There's a time in Jerusalem, Swamiji was there, and sometimes there's these crazy fanatical Christians that come up to you and accost you and want to turn you into Christians and tell you, do you believe that Christ died for your sins? So this happened to Swamiji. Some man comes up to him, do you believe that Christ died for your sins? And Swamiji said, how can God die? And the man just kind of walked away. Master can't die, God can't die, you can't die. This is all just, it's it's a dream that we're all waking up from and remembering who we truly are. So it's been a joy to be here with all of you, and thank you. Thank you all so much for your hearts here on this beautiful time where we celebrate Master's life. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Shankara, for those beautiful words. And once again, very good evening to all of you. And just out of the top of my head, I was thinking that for us on this path, there is 3 important days to come together to celebrate, to attune ourselves. One is our Guru's birthday, the Christmas meditation, and our Guru's Mahasamadhi. And I'm very happy that all of you could really make it today, because as Shankara said, this is a special day. Really the blessings flow today. And us as disciples on this path, we can really attune ourselves to those blessings, and we have to attune ourselves to those wonderful blessings that come, that are still very much alive from our Guru. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more what Shankara was saying at the end about the mission of the Master and how broad it is. The first time, there is this wonderful saying of Master that maybe all of you have heard at some time, that he said, "I killed Yogananda long ago. No one dwells in this temple now but God." Even in his talks, he will say, "I killed Yogananda incarnations ago." And the first time I heard that, I said, "Oh my God, what is he talking? He killed Yogananda. I love Yogananda. What does this mean?" And it really took me some time to, obviously, many of these things intellectually we understand, yes, but we need to start feeling them at some point or the other, that yes, of course, he killed Yogananda, even though Yogananda still exists, and he's a very particular consciousness. He came with a certain bhav that, when he came as some other incarnation, it says as William the Conqueror or Arjuna, those are the ones we know, his bhav was similar, but probably not exactly the same, because God is never the same. So there is that feeling of Yogananda that we all can attune ourselves, and that we all love, of course. But the spirit of Mahasamadhi and why it comes is to help us to also let go of that. At some point, we all have to let go of that. And when we hear, "I killed Yogananda long ago," we are not like, dying inside or something like that. It's just as a yes, of course, my Guru is infinite. He has transcended this particular personality of Yogananda, and even in some way what he came here to do. Now, when I say this, because it's important for us as disciples, even though, yes, Master, again, he said he'll come 1,000,000,000 times if needed, as long as one stray brother is left behind. We all have heard that, and we wish that we are not that one last trillion disciple that is being left behind, that will make it a little earlier. But even then, in that way, we can say, yeah, it's very personal, because even if we are that trillion or quadrillion, he will come back. So that is very extremely personal, really. But if we just confine Master too much to one particular thing, it can be self-limiting oftentimes. For example, I heard different people say that Yogananda came basically for the West, to introduce Kriya Yoga in the West, and because in India we already had Kriya Yoga, we had this, we had that, so it was mainly for the West, but that's not true. I mean, yeah, maybe India had Kriya Yoga at that time, but how many people were practicing Kriya Yoga? How many people are practicing now Kriya Yoga, even though it has become much more popular in the ascending Dwapara? You had just to go to a place like Kumbh Mela. Now, I didn't go, many other people, I saw videos, but it's like there is a lot of holiness in Kumbh Mela. There is no question, there is true saints that go there. Maybe Babaji was there, I have no idea, or some of our gurus met Babaji. But you had to say probably 98% of the people who go there, they don't have much of an idea of even why they are going, or they are able to really attune themselves to something higher. So we cannot say that, India also had already gotten everything that they need. In fact, Master came in this time very particularly because we see it here, how so many people are tired of doing rituals for the sake of rituals. They don't understand why they even are doing them. And we have seen that people, after coming to the spiritual path, especially, I'm going to talk, of course, of this path of Kriya Yoga because that's the one I know of, they were able to even bring meaning to the rituals, the traditional rituals and pujas and all that. Before, they didn't know what they were doing much. They were just following the protocol. Now they can do that with devotion. It was a wonderful, I lived for many years in Pune, as most of you know, and over there Ganesh Chaturthi is a big thing, Ganesh is everywhere. You hear him coming from everywhere, it's so loud everywhere. And there's a lot of devotion. And there was a particular disciple who really loved this whole celebration with the modaks, with the Visarjan and all these things. But she said only after she came to the path of Kriya, she was actually able to feel the blessings of Lord Ganesh and the whole meaning of this festival. So Master came really not to spiritualize just the West. Yes, the West was the beachhead, you could say. It started there because they were open to these new teachings. But that's the reason why it all came back to India, because it was needed for this deeper understanding, and it is still very much needed, this deeper understanding, to come into this land as well. Even though it's already there, it is sleeping there right now. In some way it's sleeping. Obviously it's much more awake than in other places, I don't want to say that, but just to say we should not limit the Master in that way. The Master, Swamiji said that he came, an avatar just comes to change the world really. He comes for quantity as well as for quality. He came to shake the world, shake the ether, as he said, with these teachings that they are there, that we can draw on them. And yes, he came for quality, for disciples, as Shankara said, to make saints. If this path was not able to make saints, I repeat what he said, then it will not be a true path. So we had to take it seriously in that way, that it is our destiny, it is something that we all have to aspire to. But he also came for the entire world. His teachings really were vast. It was just about Kriya, about the scriptures. He tried to change the world of education, tried to change the world of how relationships happen, how they are good, how we all know that he didn't come here to take us into the caves or into monasteries. He came for us to teach us how to spiritualize every aspect of our lives. And we as disciples, it behooves us to do our best to express those things. For example, I know some disciples, this is a very touchy subject for parents, and I'm not a father in that way, so I can talk, but education, let's put it there. I think we all understand that education in India, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad, Indians are so smart and they are at the top of all the big companies, but let's face it, it's very stressful. I don't think almost any child enjoys the whole process of education, is it? I don't know, you can raise your hand if you enjoyed all your board exams and whatever else. We had one person there, I think. But it's not a normal thing, right? And Master through Swamiji really came to change that whole approach. And it has been proven by the Education for Life schools that Swamiji started in Master's teachings, that children are happy and they're also good at academics and they excel in the world. Right now we have this Kali Yuga approach of just cramming information in our head so that we can pass an exam. When you get a job, you realize that almost everything you learn is not going to be useful, but nevertheless it's what we have. And I see disciples, they say, yes, Master's teaching is wonderful, yes, education is so terrible, yet they're the ones that are after their children, no, you had to study, you can go nowhere, study. There is a little bit of something doesn't match there. And I think as much as we can, because we are consciously on this path, in order to keep our Guru alive, we have to live this thing. We have as much as possible to tune in, really, and share with others. The Guru will only be alive if we, the disciples, keep him alive. If not, he will just be a memory in the books. And yet, such a great avatar, I think if all of us here, they say we stop following him or whatever, he will still be very much alive. He was tremendous in that way. But nevertheless, it behooves us And as Swamiji said at the end, it is through that attunement that we ourselves grow. And by expressing these wonderful things that the Guru came to bring us, that we ourselves grow and that we ourselves find our freedom. So I invite you all to really even just take an aspect of the teachings, or I don't know, somehow try to explore another aspect of the teachings that maybe you never thought of before. And attune, how did Master bring spirituality even in this? And how can I apply that spirituality, those principles, in whatever I do? And yes, and you will find it that then your meditation will become even better, because you will feel that you are constantly trying to channel the presence, the light, the joy of Yogananda, of all these great masters. And that's the blessing of Mahasamadhi, that really helped us to zoom out a little bit and say, if I want the Guru to be alive, he will be alive. If I want him to be with me, he will be with me. And really time and space doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I have a very busy schedule. I always will have time if I make the time, and he will always be there if I want him to be there. So with that, I invite Shamini now to share a few words.
Okay, thank you both for wonderful sharing, and I'll just add very briefly before we have our flower ceremony and prasad and a lot of fun coming up also for the spiritual fair. But I was just one of these little thoughts, and like Bharat's exercise of how can we let the Guru flow through us? How can we let him flow more? How can we let him come alive? So, just even this morning, I actually coincidentally heard that same talk that he played today. And, when we hear Swamiji, as Shankara was saying, it's like you hear the human aspect of the devotee, come out of Swamiji, talking about how they were all present there and the Guru has just left the body. There's a devotee trying to revive him. There's a devotee again who caught the tear in the handkerchief and kept it. I mean, it would have been just quite a dramatic experience, for those devotees present over there. And you can almost visualize yourself, in this lifetime, we didn't get to meet Master in physical body. But it's such an interesting thing to think that, like in the reading Naveen did in the beginning of Masters, when I am a memory. So interesting to think, wow, what does that even mean when I'm a memory? Imagine reading that as a devotee when he was in body, you'd be like, no, Master, I don't want you to be just a memory. I want you here always with me. And even now we all feel that way, don't we? Don't we all think how nice if Yogananda ji could just walk in right here? I always think, can't he just give the talk today? I would love to just be at your feet, Master. But it's just like, when he is one of our memory, it's so interesting to think how many of us, we just saw a picture. We saw the autobiography, we saw his eyes, and that's it. Something sparked. That same story of Swamiji happened to many of us. It's just, that's it. We read it and we knew and we came, and he reached and he reawakened here. And so many times I have this, a little bit of fear. Like sometimes, those Ananda devotees who've passed on and transitioned, they have had some beautiful, even sharings, those who have had access, let's say, to them, where they say in this realm there is a chanting of Om Guru, there is this Ananda that you get to, even at the astral world, let's say, or let's say the masters are waiting for us. And building this kind of community in that level. And sometimes I think, oh no, when I start thinking of Master as a dream, and we're praying, we're looking at his face so many times, and I start saying, oh Master, I hope I make it to you, don't leave me, you have to get me back, what if my meditation is not deep enough, what if I didn't go so good in Kriya, what if my attitude wasn't the best, but you'll still take me, right? I'll still make it, right? And I have these bargains with him here and there, sometimes in my meditation. But then I thought, just this morning, I was again having one of these conversations with Master, and after meditation, looking at his picture. And I just had this thought, like even in this life, here we are. When I look at this life from school and all those things Bharat was talking about, I didn't do anything to deserve finding Yogananda, to deserve finding these teachings, to deserve finding these Guru Bhais, these people. But it's just he promised us. He will always look out for us. He will find us, he will bring us back, and he will be looking out for us. And that's one thing for us to maybe keep with us. The saying that he gave, to those who think me near, I will be near. So simple words, but so deep, and something to meditate on, isn't it? And we think him near, think of him, even if we in the heart of situations, sometimes we can't feel him. When tough times come, when difficult things happen, we can't feel him. But just think him, and he will be there, whether we are able to see, whether we are able to, hear or not. And I just thought one last little thing I'll leave you with, of one practice maybe also. That, there's this movie, Awake, which we watched. It's put out by SRF, YSS, and different people have given, interviews on Master and, different aspects, and they've shared, and even there's a little bit of Swamiji. And so there's this one devotee there, Krishna Das, who has beautiful songs, beautiful chanting, and I think he's a devotee of Neem Karoli Baba. And he shares this very beautiful line there, where he says, when his guru passed, he had asked another saint, that now that my guru has gone, how do I find him? How do I have access to him? And the person said to him something along the lines of, what are you talking about? He's right here in your eyes looking at me right now. And he throws this little challenge at us. Now sit with that for some time, with that thought. And it's just a very interesting thing, the eyes. We were doing this little fun game, some of us, last time after satsang, of a devotee here was saying, I see Master in that devotee. And I was like, but I see him in you. And then we were just looking at each other's eyes, and you can actually see that same light flowing out through the eyes of each devotee, because he comes alive in us. And that's another practice for us to maybe do consciously. Not just, to those who think, if I think maybe, but no, consciously. I want you to flow through me. I want you to shine through me. I want you to touch anyone who you want to touch. Let's touch their hearts together today. Let me smile through me at strangers. And it can become such a beautiful, uplifting every day of our lives. So blessed Master's Mahasamadhi to all of us. Om Guru.
O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. The time has come for us to see that there's but one reality upon the earth and high above, the truth that all was made from love. A love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Guide all our hopes and all our dreams, past every glow that only seems, into the light, the inner sun, into the truth that we're all one. Help us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our way.
You can join us this last time.
O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our way.